Halo, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Susanti from 1A1 class, the Honorable my lecturer Mr. I. Here I will explain the meaning of education, the purpose of education, and the principles in building during the COVID-19 pandemic. Here I will explain about the meaning of education. Education is the learning of knowledge, skills, and habits of a group of people that are passed down from one generation to the next through teaching, training, or research. Education often takes place under the guidance of others but also possible in a self-taught manner. The etymology of the word education itself comes from the Latin word educere, which means to guide, direct, or lead, and the prefix means to go out. This education means the activity of leading outward. Any experience that has a formative effect on the way people think, feel, or act can be considered educational. Education is generally divided into stages such as preschool, elementary school, junior high school or vocational high school, and then college, university, or apprenticeship. A right education has been recognized by several governments at the global level. Article 13 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights recognize the rights of everyone to education. Although education is compulsory in most places up to a certain age, attendance at school is often not practiced, and a minority of parents opt for homeschooling, e-learning, or similar for their children. Okay, next I will explain about the purpose of education. The purpose of education is to develop the potential of students to become human beings who believe and fear God Almighty, have noble character, are healthy, knowledgeable, capable, creative, independent, and become democratic and responsible citizens. Law number 20 of 2003 concerning the national education system, Article 3, the objective of national education is to develop the potential of students to become human beings who believe and fear God Almighty, have noble character, are healthy, knowledgeable, competent, creative, independent, and become a democratic and responsible citizen. And then I will explain about the principles in building during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Education and Culture, or Kemendikbud, stated that the completeness of the curriculum was the main goal of the teaching and learning process at school and from home. Rather, it emphasized literacy, numeracy, and character competencies. The Director General of Teacher and Education Personnel, Dirjen KTK of the Ministry of Education and Culture, Iwan Shahril, expressed the main principles in carrying out the COVID-19 pandemic. He conveyed this when he opened the webinar entitled Leading Schools with All Limitations in the Era of Adaptations to New Habits. Here are 7 principles in building during the COVID-19 pandemic. 1. Health and safety are promoted. Health protocols must be followed. 2. Before starting lesson in the new school year, carry out a diagnostic assessment to see student progress. 3. Arrange the learning activities according to the diagnostic assessment. The curriculum must be unbeatable, differentiated, remedial teaching, pay more attention to the students who are left behind, pay attention to cognitive and non-cognitive aspects, teachers can collaborate. 4. Implementation of learning activities in accordance with the context of the area, school, and students. Have a dialogue with the principal, parents, and relevant stakeholders. 5. Reflect regularly. 6. Structure study time. Join a learning community at a school or community to share ideas and materials. And last, from a community for psychosocial support for teachers and school principals. Teachers need to understand principles. It will also explain how these principles are implemented both by school principals, teachers, and educators. The main principles, he said, is that health and safety must really be maintained. The principle first that health and safety are maintained. That's the most important thing. Health protocols must be obeyed, said Iwan, as summarized from the Ministry of Education and Culture's website. After that, Iwan explained that teachers need to carry out a diagnostic assessment, which is an initial assessment to see how students are developing. This can be as simple if the grade 3 children now give maybe a grade 2 material based exam have mastered it or not. If it doesn't mean we start there, so don't start strike from third grade, he said. Then he continued, only then did the teacher arrange learning based on the assessment. So the curriculum is not straightforward for grade 3. So starting from the result of the assessment, maybe it is different for each child. So differentiation is made, explained Iwan. Iwan also reminded teachers to pay attention to the children who are left behind, who are the most vulnerable. Don't ignore them, don't abandon them. That's the most important thing. Maybe the attention is more focused on the children who are left behind. Maybe it can be remedial. Pay attention to aspects not only cognitive but also non-cognitive. What kind of social emotional is important for the child and the teacher? The teacher collaborates, he continued. Iwan revealed the learning must be adapted to the existing context in each region, each school, and each student. Don't force everything to be the same. Then, dialogue is very important between school principals, parents, and stakeholders, he explained. Not to forget, teachers are also encouraged to reflect because parameters can change so rapidly during a pandemic. After doing a plan, then it is implemented, we need to reflect regularly. Maybe every week it needs evaluation, every 2 weeks, and so on. Not on when it's finished at like this, said Iwan. Not only students learn, Iwan revolves the principle of the need for teachers and education staff to allocate time for learning. The working hours in 1 week are counted as 40 hours. Do not use it only for teaching. Also structure the time for learning. I will also end structuring the time to communicate with parents. Because parents are partners of all teachers, the principal in learning children and during this pandemic, he appealed. Finally, I want to advise teachers to seek psychosocial support because we educators also need good mental health, not only in the form of cognitive but also mental health or psychosocial supports. It's very important, he concluded. And then I was done to explain the article. That's the explanation I can convey. My apologies if there is a word error and incorrect pronunciation in this video. Thank you for watching and stay healthy, stay safe, And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.